Sup, what's going on, my party people? So today's video we're going to talk about AR-15 zeros and which one you should consider using in your SHTF and preps and all that fun stuff. So let's not sugarcoat it, let's get right into it. So first we're going to talk about the 25-yard zero. This is probably the worst zero you could use, and I'll explain why. The 25-yard zero is a good check the box zero. What do I mean by that? Well, someone's going to chime in with, well, the Army uses the zero, so it can't be bad. Everything the DoD does is great. Shut up. This zero is check the box. What does that mean? Well, out of all the jobs in the Army, all the people in the Army, the personnel, about 90% are non-combat. Now, how do you teach Joe Private that wants to push a pencil around for 3 years, collect his benefits, collect his check, and get out? How do you teach him to care? You don't. But how do you get him to qual once a year? You use this zero. You set the target up at 25 yards, get him to group in his nice little circle, and tell him to aim low on every target, and he'll hit the green silhouette man downrange. It'll go down, he'll get his little sharpshooter badge, and that'll be it. And in the real world, the range isn't a square range with those little green pop-up drop targets. Combatants don't tend to stand there like this and try to get hit. So this zero, as you can see in the charts and stuff that are posted about this zero, it's a pretty big spread. But if you aim low, lollipop your target, it tends to go down when you pull the trigger. But the problem with this is combatants don't tend to stand like those little green targets. They lay down, they kneel, they hide behind trees, they hide behind cover, they expose the least of themselves as humanly possible. This zero has a lot of variable to it. Having to aim low on everything, having such a wide spread is nigh impossible to get precise hits on targets that are trying not to get hit. Which is why I said it's once again a check the box target to get the guy to qualify once a year, get his little sharpshooter badge, and then go home. And SHTF using this zero as a hunting zero is terrible, for the simple reason you can't hit a low probability hit very well unless you really know your dope, really know your ranges and all that stuff. Trying to hit a low probability target on a deer like a heart or a dome shot is not really that practical. So that's why we're going to put this zero in the check the box category. It is a zero only to get you to pass a marksmanship qual and not much else. So let's carry on to a zero that's actually useful. So let's talk about the 100-yard zero. This zero makes a lot of sense. It's a consistent zero. The farther something gets away, there's very little guesstimation. It's all just holding high and going down. So it's linear. It makes a lot of sense. Our primitive human monkey brain understands it. The farther away something is, the higher you aim. As a combat zero, you can be pretty spot on out to 150, 200 yards with it. The spread is about yay big, you know. So it makes a lot of sense. It's a pretty good zero. It works well. It makes most of your optics are calibrated for it, which put a pin in that because it's implied you're using specific barrel length, specific powder charge, specific bullet weight, all that stuff. But it's a zero that makes sense, and it's easy to achieve and easy to master when you have all this BDC stuff that is made for it. So 100-yard zero is a pretty good zero. But let's look at these other ones for SHTF and more combat type use. Now the 50-yard zero. This is actually a really good zero. This was my favorite zero for the longest time, and it's the one that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. The spread out to about 200 yards is very tight, and it works very well for just pick up the gun, put your sights on what you want to hit, press the trigger, and after 200 yards, you're going to score hits. Now, up to 300 plus, it falls off the earth pretty fast, but generally speaking in SHTF, you'll probably only be engaging out to, well, maybe about 200 yards, because CQB, in my opinion, is more like urban ops and goes anywhere from a few feet up to about 200 yards. Now, why do I say CQB is up to 200 yards? Well, there's a lot more to the world than the little shoot house you guys train in and practice in. It's a lot bigger than your typical airsoft CQB field. The world has a lot to it. Now, you guys live in cities, across streets, behind rock walls and all that stuff. But with this zero, it takes a lot of guessing out of the equation. Put your sights on what you want to hit. After 200 yards, you probably will. So it's good hunting. It's good self-defense. It's a really good zero that just works. So 200 yard zero is probably, in my opinion, the second best zero. Now there's one more zero we're going to talk about, and you guys probably all know what it is, the 36. And I'm going to talk about why it's my preferred zero now and the one I use on all my 5.56 caliber weapons. So we all knew this was coming. The 36 yard zero. Why do I think the 36 yard zero is the best overall AR-15 zero? It's very similar to the 5200 in the sense that you pretty much put your sights over what you want to hit, and out to about 300 yards, you'll hit it. This is a zero the Marine Corps uses, and it makes a lot of sense. A lot of guesswork, so it works good. With the 36 yard zero, your highest point on the trajectory of the round is about 150 yards, when you'll be about 5 inches high. Now, it's a bigger spread than, overall spread than the 5200, but here's where it gets interesting. 300 on a 5200 yard zero is, if you aim like right about the neck area, you'll hit in about the belly button, bladder, junk area at 300. With the 36, the 300 yard drop is about an inch in an ideal world. These are all ideals. So if yours is a little bit different, you have to factor in barrel length and velocity and bullet weight and all that stuff. So we're going to ignore the variables. In an ideal world, you'll be about an inch low. Why also is that helpful? Well, with the 36, if you're running a suppressor on your AR-15, suppressors tend to change your zero a little bit. On the 5200, when you're taking those long-range shots, it's going to be a bit more of a drop. All there is to it, it's just a bit more of a drop. Because changing things by an inch at this range, it amplifies as you go out. With the 36, if you just have a 1 inch drop or a 2 inch drop at 100 yards, that's a 4 or 5 inch drop at 300. So your overall zero stays pretty tight, and it works very well. This is good for, obviously, CQB. It's good for a hunting zero and SHTF. It's just a good zero that works. And the reason it works really good is just because the way it spreads. And if you change your zero by adding a suppressor and things like that, it doesn't affect it as much. It's still a point, press the trigger, target goes down, it gets hit. So that's why, in my opinion, 36 is the best. Take that with a grain of salt. Do what you want with it. I'm just your regular guy on YouTube that has an opinion. So there's just that. So drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. What zero do you guys use? Do you think anything I said was applicable to you? Hopefully, maybe I changed your mind a little bit if you're a TRADOC zombie that swears by anything the DoD says. But yeah, so go forth, do great things, stay out of trouble. Deuce.